Good morning, evening, afternoon. I'm tatocat. Welcome to my channel. And today we're playing Echoes Lucid9 Fangame. Previously, um, after our chat with Hisao, we woke up. Not Hisao. I said Hisao because I'm reading Hisao. Yama, and found out Yama wasn't there. And now we're going to eat breakfast and run into Hisao. Find out he's going after the commander, Emmy. But she's probably more into duty, you know. Um. And, yeah. And now he's gonna tell us where Yama is. And that's where we left off. Fine. No need to be a spoil sport. I saw him go through the armory and enter the training room with the commander at around 3:45 this morning. To my knowledge, he's been there since. You might be able to get through if the door is unlocked, but I doubt ERIS will. Attention, all cell personnel. The time is 05:08 hours. The chairman of the board will make a Delta level public announcement in 12 minutes. Please listen carefully and follow all instructions. A recording of the announcement will be replayed every 3 hours in order to reach its intended audience. Delta level with replays? Must be something serious. As opposed to something that isn't. Addressing the entire corporation isn't really something you do lightly. True, as always, Dr. Hayata. We can only hope they haven't decided to go into panic mode just yet. Good morning, and most auspicious day to all. I finished my food. Oh. Oh, oops. I finished my food just in time for the transmission from the chairman. The lights dim, and the chatter around me begins to fade out. By the time his image fades onto the screen, the entire room falls silent with an aura of reverence and fear, like a congregation during a moment of remembrance for the dead. I'm not too on edge, but that's only because I know the man behind the screen. I await his message as a matter of duty, but to the average cell staff member or corporate employee, it's been clear for a while that he's seen some form of he's seen some form of spiritual leader. To the devout, as is missing. To the devout, he must be a prophet of the way forward, one who preaches our corporation's message of unity through healing, and a man whose voice alone can enforce the faith of those who seek to embody doctrine in all things. To the majority, however, he's the main reason that we refrain from questioning this corporation's teachings.
Since the age of humanity began, a wound has existed in our people. This wound was one of pain and longing. It was the perpetual agony of our existence, an agony that transcended the individual mind, just as it transcended the bonds of families, tribes, and nations. When the first of mankind emerged from the crucible of mindless slaughter and dared to examine their predicament as no species had before, they found no true purpose, no God sleeping in their heaven as terror reigned. Only the tears of blood each newborn child shed from their mind's true hearts. Wow, that was a line. Some of us choose to join a rotting mass of detritus we left in our wake, preferring to be reborn into the simple cells that go on living as they had. But most of us feared oblivion more than feared the agony of the mind. We, the children of these survivors, were chosen. Humanity was beyond the other, failed species, but we could not unite to reconcile the base torment of being that base torment of being that consumed us. Our lesser brothers and sisters turn to abstract gods and imaginary prophecies to distract themselves from their own pain, but an enlightened few saw through those lies. Before the carnage of the world wars, those enlightened few united to form this corporation under the leadership of Rika Nijikawa. They preached unity through healing, and healing through unity. For they knew humanity was flawed and that we must be saved, not through God or faith or one's nation, but through a united effort to overcome our shared suffering. And that is the one constant of our existence, but together the knowledge we are burdened with can be used as an antidote to this endless hell of our own design. Our ultimate against to that hell lies with our ultimate against to that hell lies within knowledge that faith and the supernatural will not save us. We are alone. But through science and discovery, we know that our powers combined might one day heal all people from the great wound we share. to reanimate to remediate the existential agony of others, to believe and serve this cause. That is the way forward upon which our corporation is named, and we are aware of no truer purpose than the one we serve. In the past century, your devoted work and services rendered to this corporation have helped all of us move closer to the vision of our founders. We solved the petroleum crisis by developing syngas through genetic and agricultural engineering. We reduced the global food and water insecurity rate to less than 1/10 of what it was before 2030. Who is this for? My goodness, every time he appears, this sort of thing. Through inoculation, medication, and preventative maintenance, we have developed methods of treating virtually every disease known to humanity. And the corporate Congress of Labor Unions ensure that this corporation's employees have more extensive access to these treatments and services every year. Since 2032, the missionaries of the way have spent over 300 trillion yen each year, equivalent to a quarter of our profits, to develop charge-free vital infrastructure, donate essential goods and services, and pay for medical services worldwide for those who cannot afford to purchase them for themselves. Last year, your work contributed to the development of immune serum and allowed us to stop the outbreak of the hemorrhagic rhinovirus before it could reach Isamu. And I come to you today to inform you that our work, your work, is needed again in order to safeguard something I can't read. As you may already know, Novel 40 has reached Isamu. There is no sense in arguing or denying it for the sake of deluding ourselves into false sense of security. Black Star Security has assisted us in keeping the Block 307 quarantine zone locked down to reduce the rate at which the virus can spread outward from its reported point of origin. But that is not enough. During the outbreak of the hemorrhagic rhinovirus, a certain mainland country's actions taught us that centralized duplicity and excess of faith in one's safety leads only to death. Therefore, should any human error occur that allows Novel 40 to spread into District 2, we must not allow ourselves to be caught off guard. Therefore, it is with great care that I must inform you that after a unanimous vote, the Way Forward Corporation's Board of Directors has declared a low-level state of biological emergency throughout our CAZ. Until further notice, this district has been moved into Biological Condition 1. I wish to remind you that I was going to say, what is Biological Condition 1? I wish to remind you that while Biocon 1 is the most minimal state of emergency this corporation can declare, compliance with its provisions is mandatory. If you are a resident of District 2 who cannot comply with these provisions for any reason, the Office of the Peace will be forced to assist you. We expect certain individuals to engage in civil disobedience during this time of transition, and thus the Office of the Peace is prepared to use minimum level of force in encouraging compliance. However, known that any acts of sabotage, disinformation, or inciting mass unrest constitute as endangerment of public safety and will therefore void your rights to be protected from excessive force, detention, termination, asset forfeiture, and loss of title. I feel like this can be translated to, you'll lose your rights as a human and maybe killed in a different way, and you'll become poor and die. By the way, death under the biological condition system, the 1.8 million people currently present in District 2 will hereby be divided into two categories: assets and non-assets. It will receive immediate instructions on all registered devices from the Department of Epidemiology based on what category and subcategory they fall under. The non-asset category of personnel consists of anyone not employed by the Way Forward Corporation and not in the immediate process of receiving medical services in District 2. Before 12 a.m. tomorrow, all 36,000 non-assets personnel will be required to leave District 2 until the biological condition is lifted, as no new bio-tracker chip can be administered at this time to ensure their compliance. So the people who work will stay, but the people who don't work will have to leave. What about the families of the people who work? Do they still have to leave? The remaining 98% of people in District 2 will henceforth be classified as assets under the biological condition system and will be divided into 4 subcategories. If you are classified as asset, follow all instructions, ensure that any necessary equipment can be distributed to you. Auxiliary personnel such as patients, retail workers, and support staff will be required to wear a CM100 carbon matrix molecular filtration mask at all times, with the exception of when they are inside their own place of residence and protected from airborne and waterborne molecules by an active system of Roswell boxes. If the Roswell box system in your place of residence is not listed as online in the digital operation center of your place of residence, do not remove your mask. Call the Department of Epidemiology emergency number and they will restore the functionality of your RBS at no cost. Until this occurs, you will be required to receive all nutrients, medications, and water intravenously. Essential personnel such as emergency response workers, sanitation workers, and corporate employees responsible for infrastructure maintenance will be issued a CM100 mask as well as a full body filtration suit to protect their skin from exposure to unprocessed air. And the same restrictions on where and under what circumstances these can be taken off will apply. Vital personnel such as epidemiologists, researchers, doctors, nurses, and other medical staff will be issued CN100 masks and an airtight environmental suit complete with an onboard Roswell box and atmosphere processor. The same restrictions on where and when you can remove them will apply, I assume is what it says. Oh. So what do we classify as? Exceptional personnel will be subjected to varying restrictions based on the availability of immune serum from corporate reserves. If you fall under this category, you will be informed of it, and arrangement will be made on your behalf. Await all instructions on your personal electronic devices. You will be told where to obtain the required equipment as well as how to maintain it. Spare units, parts, and a maintenance kit will also be issued if you wish to stay inside or if your equipment is damaged in any way. Contact the Department of Epidemiology through their emergency phone number, and they will arrange for the required goods and services to be delivered to your place of residence. Regardless of your title or classification, take care to follow all instructions given to you. Any failure of containment places you and your fellow employees at risk for a permanent disability or death and will be punished according to the circumstances of that failure. As of this transmission, all Roswell boxes installed by the Way Forward Corporation in District 2 have been activated. This includes internal Roswell boxes, which will regular, regular, will regularly and safely purify indoor air and water supplies through carbon matrix filtration and the internal distribution of UVC light, as well as building mounted external Roswell boxes, which will do the same and maintain airflow in District 2's local atmosphere, despite extenuating weather forecasts. Be prepared to encounter wind of up to 40 kilometers per hour. With that, there is nothing more that needs to be announced. If you require more information for any reason, please download the Way Forward Corporation's Health Center mobile app or visit the Department of Epidemiology's Epidemic Prevention portal at www.wayforward.isu/epidemic prevention. Above all, remain vigilant, self-isolate, and submit a report to the Department of Epidemiology if yourself affected by any unusual symptoms for any reason. Ours is a true path. It welcomes all of us. But for it and our great cause to succeed, it requires the contributions of mankind. I ask personally that you stay the course and do not lose faith. And on behalf of the Board of Directors and the entire Way Forward Corporation, I thank you for your time and attention in this matter. In the name of Way Forward, I bid you peace and good fortune. May you each accomplish the impossible and prevent the inevitable.
Once the transmission from the chairman is over, it doesn't take long for specific instructions to pop up on my phone in Iris Visor. To nobody's surprise, all tenured operatives and staff in the Special Services Division are considered exceptional personnel, and while not obligated to wear a mask, we are required to receive regular injections of immune serum and wear EV suits at all times when outside of HQ. It could be worse. All things considered, the former is trivial and the latter is only a minor inconvenience, considering that every suit of powered armor the SSD uses either has a built-in Roswell box and ATM repro system. Even for some reason it doesn't, it can be slotted in through a module so readily available that even a WFCOP rookie patrol officer could get their hands on one. The only downside of doing so is the mild charcoal-like smell of filters operating inside a space as small as the armor system interna. I'm a bit concerned that hardware. I'm a bit concerned that hand washing, physical distancing, and regular object clothing services disinfection weren't mentioned. And at this point, I can think of 3 reasons that I didn't hear anything about them. Well, I guess we'll hear what those 3 reasons are in the next episode. We shall